Welcome, everybody, to Bathroom Hashed Podcast. In this episode with fiatjaf, we're going to ask him pertinent questions such as, is it okay to pee in the bathroom? Or to pee in the shower?
Not in the bathroom. I don't take my shower in the bathroom. I do it on the street.
Ah, next to the cars.
Yes.
But do you
Oh,
pee when you're taking a shower next to the cars?
I don't want to answer that question. It's very personal.
Oh, you're asking the entire fucking internet that question, but you don't want to answer it yourself?
Well, but when people answer, they do it anonymously. So,
Okay,
do
but
you want to answer? Or
nobody
you?
knows who you are anyway, so it's sort of anonymous.
Well, I'll answer if you answer first.
I should answer the question first?
Yes, yes.
Okay. If you're gonna play it like that, then yes, I pee in the shower.
Okay, me too. I don't understand why there's some people that think that is very bad, but
Are there
yeah.
any people who think it's very bad?
Well, there are at least 20% of the people that answered the poll.
Seriously?
Yes, and one of them talked to me and said he has fights with his wife because she pees and he doesn't, and they have fights on over this.
Okay. Now we could go into this and the fact that you can immediately entire environment cleans itself, and you can even take some effort
Yeah,
into cleaning
that's
the environment when it occurs. But
yeah.
okay, let's skip
I
that.
have another question. Another question for you is how do people manage to record audio without cars, without the sound of cars? Do they live in the middle of nowhere or do they
No,
live in
so
cities?
so uh, uh, in the history of human existence, uh, humans eventually developed a thing called a house, and so you might not be aware of this fact. Uh, as
But
we
the cars they pass close to the houses because people
Yes, but the
they
thing,
have streets.
houses have these properties. They're called walls.
Okay,
I understand these are completely foreign
and the
concepts
walls.
for you, but so these walls they hold back the weather, but also sound. So
Yeah, but don't these people have windows?
oh
I
yes,
thought
yeah, oh so
this
you
house
are
has.
aware of the notion of a window. Yes. So but these windows they have features. So you can open them, but you can also close them, and they tend to block the sound the moment you close the window.
Okay, okay, but they also block the the code.
Yes, they also block the cold.
They,
But the interesting thing about windows that they're made of glass, so they let light through. It's amazing. So you can
yeah, but
see through it, but it's actually there's sort of a wall there.
okay, okay, I see, I see.
Welcome to the 21st century, my man. It's amazing.
Okay, that brings us to my next question. That
Okay.
is totally related. Do you have in these countries you live a thing that is you have a stick and you put some you take some juice of like very sweet juice and you freeze it and it becomes a thing that is in this stick, a frozen cube of iced juice.
Yeah,
But
it's like a
do you have that
popsicle. Yeah.
popsicle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have that? Is
Yes.
that very popular or
Yes,
is
we
like a
we have one
niche
that's called raketje, and it's in the shape of a rocket, and then it has all these layers of colors, and there's like
nice?
a red tip. But if I recall correctly, so you have like horizontally layered colors, and then uh, but inside there are different layers of colors as well. So it's like one color fuckfest, and it's called a raketje. So it's a rocket. It's a very popular one. And we also have Festini Pear, and it's a pear ice cream. It's really good. But in terms of its form factor, it's rather straightforward because it's just like a rectangle. It's very boring, but it tastes really well.
Okay.
Is there any other thing you want to know, fiatjaf?
No, just these two things.
Okay. So we're gonna watch some StarCraft, obviously, and the last couple of times, I mean, we looked at us playing a match, but it was obvious who was gonna win at the start, so it wasn't any fun to watch. We tried.
Because you put your SCVs to mine faster than me?
Correct.
How can you do that? I did it as fast as I could.
Practice, I guess. So and then we tried to rip some from the internet, some replays, and it turned out that they well, one was an actual pro match, the other one wasn't a pro match. We thought it was a pro match. So now we're following fiatjaf's suggestion of just shamelessly ripping off content from Artosis, his channel. So that's what I did. I haven't seen the match. So
nice.
And there's no sound.
There's a chance Protoss will win.
There is indeed, maybe, perhaps, a chance Protoss will win. So there's no sound. We have to give the commentary ourselves.
Oh, that's very good, because then we can show our knowledge about StarCraft. You see the probes are mining.
Yes.
When they mine like this, that's because the player is going to do something. You take the minerals and you build one of these structures that give you room for making more probes or SCVs. Right?
There is something I want to... so I saw a tweet from Shinobi where he... Let me look
Talks about drive chain.
No, we're not going to talk about drive chain. Let me see. So he said the entire concept of Bitcoin as an intelligence test is just total nonsense.
Yeah, I saw that.
If it actually was, then it explained the vast majority of Bitcoiners being total fucking morons. Now, what's your first response to this this tweet, fiatjaf?
I was going to say he should look at himself, but I don't want to offend him. I actually like him, although he has some very bad opinions. So, yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably right. I don't know who thinks Bitcoin is an intelligence test. What do you think?
So just on the... Oh, the motherfucker did a gas steal. He did a fucking gas steal. That's so annoying. Okay. So just taking the tweet on face value, I think his logic is incorrect. So I agree with the fact that there are a lot of morons in Bitcoin, right? But it's that it by itself does not negate the fact that it's an intelligence test, because it's the bell curve meme, right? You know the bell curve meme?
No.
Oh, so
I know it's a bell curve.
You know what a bell curve is?
Yes.
Okay, so so the bell curve is the IQ distribution, and then on the left side
I know what's the meme.
Yes,
I
okay.
remember the meme now.
Okay, you remember the meme. So, and as you might remember from the meme, is that the left side, the morons, right, the grok brains, they say the same thing as the big brains, right? And then the midwit in the middle is screeching and coping. So, the fact that the big brains came to the conclusion of Bitcoin does not in itself negate the fact that there are a shit ton of morons who are going to come to the same conclusion. Now, as to the extent of Bitcoin actually being an intelligence test, I don't know. I think it's difficult. I think Bitcoin is it is in regards to the fact that it's very complex, but that also kind of hampers it. It's if you have too much of a bias, if your heuristics are just not set well enough, you can be very intelligent, but it can be very hard or difficult to actually gauge Bitcoin in an honest manner. And that's also because there is a lot of noise around it, with all the crypto bullshit, etc. So if I guess that there are a lot of intelligent people that simply just not had a honest chance in finding out what Bitcoin actually is or
So
what it's good for.
to like Bitcoin, don't you have to appreciate the inflation stuff and how
No,
Bitcoin solves inflation or what
no,
else?
no, not
You don't. You're not one of these people.
no. So personally, how I got into, uh, I think Bitcoin is very interesting for the fact that it seems to work. Because when I
Hmm.
looked at it, my first conclusion was that it shouldn't be able to work.
When was that?
Um, so I guess that was around 2010. So the
Hmm.
first time I encountered Bitcoin, I thought it was a botnet, right? Because the only description, there was some forum post, there was the description of, yeah, here's this thing. If you download it, it will consume compute resources, and you will get magical internet money for it, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So I was like, I'm.
Yeah.
They're just baiting me and willingly installing some malware, and then some Ukrainian fucker is gonna consume my compute resources, and I'm supposedly gonna get these fucking tokens. Um, so that was late 2009, and then it popped up a couple of times, and then I started to look into it, and then I was very skeptical, and then I guess it took many years of studying off and
Okay,
on.
but why do you think Bitcoin is a good thing if you're not if you're not here for the inflation?
Okay, so uh, it's I'm so you have this you have discretionary policy and rule based policy, right? This is within
Right.
the also within the monetary theory. This is nothing new, um, and I do have a problem with the the discretionary policies that have been um, in practice or in place, especially ever since fucking central banks, right? You just can't give them that power, obviously. So that is in that sense, it is a solution, and that also is in relation to monetary inflation. But I don't necessarily get a hard on for the 21 million hard cap meme. I think
Hmm.
that one's rather silly. Uh, a while ago, Peter Todd said it pretty well, and this has also been my objection for a long time, is that the hard cap is actually an issue in the sense that it introduces a phase change or a state change in the system, right? You go from a process where there is subsidy to a point where there's no subsidy, uh, and then
Hmm.
it
Yeah,
it does radically change the dynamic of the system, right?
but it's a gradual change, and we've been through the change already. Like the change is already happening,
Yes, but
and
there's a difference between so there is a fundamental difference between a little bit of subsidy and no subsidy. By the sheer effect of how
well,
the
once a
game theory
township
plays out.
is a little bit, but right, the last subsidy period will
Yes, yes,
pass
yes.
once
So
a township.
so we're already. Personally, I put for my just to gauge this subject, I put the point where the subsidy becomes less than 1 Bitcoin.
Hmm.
I guess another way of gauging it would be when the subsidy becomes less than the fees, right? Those two, but you don't know exactly when those are because the fees are a
Right.
variable as well. But so that's the point where that's the turning point, let's say, right? That's when things start to shift, and then it takes like 100 fucking years before it actually goes to zero. But they've become marginalized far before that point, sure. And what I that's still like, if we still don't know if the system actually works past that point, right? That's still a hypothesis. So
Yes.
But there, in terms of mining is very, very interesting, right? I find this the fact that it's a global 24/7 real-time market that is location independent, etc. It's very, very interesting. Such that miners become the buyers of last resort for energy. So there is this incentive to look to these marginalized sources of energy with very low prices or even negative prices. Other incentive models where you use it for heating, although that one also very much depends on the capital cost of the mining hardware, because just getting a chunk of metal as a resistor is always going to be cheaper than buying a miner. But whatever. So yeah, it's very interesting, but it's I've reserved some skepticism in relation to Bitcoin still. But back to why I think it's interesting is because it seems to work, and what it does, I think what it does and how it works is fascinating. So that's why I'm interested in Bitcoin. And then, like 99% of the Grug Brain memes don't necessarily interest me.
Memes what?
The Grug Brain memes, like the morons, the idiots that Shinobi was referring to, right? Because I agree, there are a lot of idiots that are only spouting dogmatic bullshit, and most of the times it's even wrong, right? The things that they're stating, those dogmas, are just plain wrong. They don't know what they're talking about, but
But they
you
do
can't
play
avoid
a
it.
role in convincing other people.
What did you say?
So I think it's good. They play a role in convincing other people by just repeating dogma. Like,
Yeah, I think it's tricky, man. It's really tricky. It's I think
and
actually.
I'll take any people that you can convince, even
Okay.
if it's a moron that just repeats stuff
Yes,
that
but
will like
do
to
you do
see.
do you actually? Because it's an expectation management problem, right? We've seen this with Bcash. There was this the expectations in relation to the system was wrong. The memes were wrong, right? The meme of instant free anonymous payments, that was the fucking meme. And then you had Roger Ver going around giving everybody free Bitcoin with the meme of instant free anonymous payments. And it was just plain wrong. So, at least at the time. So, then it hit the scaling wall, which was obvious that we're going to hit it. Because that was literally the first remark in relation to Bitcoin. That was the first thing somebody said.
Yeah.
And it was obvious. If you look at the architecture, that would be the first thing you say. And then we hit that wall, and now we have a whole bunch of people who are disappointed, and there is enough room for stupid propaganda and forks and all this kind of bullshit.
These samurai wallet people, they still hold the same views, I think. Do you like these people? Like these
Um,
Monero lovers that also happen to use this Bitcoin wallet called Samurai. They they hate Lightning. They hate all the things that are not their wallet, and it's very weird that they just think everybody should be doing these on-chain transactions forever and nothing else. I don't know how they can hold these views and not be considered big cashers. What is
yeah. So first of all, I don't agree. I do think that Samurai Wallet and what they've built with Whirlpool is nice. Um,
I'm not saying the wallet's bad or
right.
Ripple is bad.
The thing is, also this is in the same thing that the other thing that Peter Todd said. He also, I think, it was in the same interview. He remarked on the samurai guys. I think it was an intelligent remark, so I'll repeat it. Basically, what he said is like it's very suspicious if you're being
Wow,
agitating.
those dragoons.
Yeah, if you don't get into tank range, dude, it's like
They were just there.
yeah, they melt.
Okay.
um, so he thought it was very suspicious that they were so aggressive, also apparently very dishonest, just due to the fact that lightning does work, and um, uh, and the fact that potentially if you're using Whirlpool just via their wallet, for their mobile wallet, it might be perceived as a potential honeypot because they have all your Xbox and stuff. So
Yeah.
uh, he thought it was very suspicious, and it is kind of suspicious indeed. I don't know what I don't know what the deal is with those guys, to be honest. But I don't agree with it. I have a completely different perspective on Bitcoin, and I think that um, a lot of people. I also call this like the Savedin school of Bitcoin, which I hate. I think it's they're stuck in this initial paradigm of Bitcoin, and it's like you get introduced to the
What
thing in this
they
initial phase. There is a way of interacting with the system due to it being in its infancy, and then for some fucking reason insisting that that is the way to interact with the system.
what's the safety paradigm? What like the safety stuff is very recent. It's not related to the
Um,
Bcash stuff or anything like that.
no, so the thing is with so why I call it the Savedin school of Bitcoin is because I I think when did he write the book in 2017 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Bitcoin Standard. Yeah. So like my observation is like he's the Grok brain, the dogmatic Grok brain who took the memes from the period before that, doesn't necessarily understand the system, and uh, writes a book about it and then just starts screaming about it. And it became very popular, so that's why the school of thought bears his name, right?
But the ideas were already there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
are the ideas?
yeah.
The ideas are
Obviously,
just that Bitcoin has no inflation. That's just it. And then he says inflation is bad, and Bitcoin has no inflation. That's it. This the core. All of his thesis is that.
yes, correct. But then around
And
that,
you
he also has
disagree
this
with that?
notion
How
of
can you disagree with that?
so he I don't know if to what extent he understands or he only parrots this notion of Bitcoin should only be or blockchain should only be used for money, uh, but then, or you shouldn't do anything else with Bitcoin. Um, it's like it's not
I don't
wrong,
think
but
he.
it's just somewhere stunted, and it's not. I I get this
I
feeling
don't
that he
think he
doesn't
holds that
actually
view.
grok the system, right?
What? Mm,
So, for
what do
instance,
you
we
think blockchain who should be used to?
hmm?
What do you think blockchain should be used to that safety wouldn't like?
No, so it's not necessarily. Oh, well, for instance, I guess timestamping, right? But then you can
I
you can
kind of
you can you can cr- uh you can have a debate as to, or you can reason about how useful it is, ultimately. But then on the other side, the costs are so extremely marginal, right? It's practically free to timestamp if you do it at
yeah.
scale. Then so whatever how marginal the benefit is, I don't care because the costs are extremely marginal as well.
But Peter Todd is the one that doesn't like these things
What do you
because
mean?
he thinks Peter Todd doesn't like that you use the blockchain for the things because he says he doesn't say that explicitly, but he thinks they will incentivize minor centralization stuff like that. Like Peter I don't know if Peter Todd has. Oh, I know Peter Wille, whatever you pronounce his name.
Vuile.
Yeah, that guy.
Vuile. Everybody says it wrong because well, he's Belgian, so, but it's Pieter Vuile.
So he's your cousin. Uh,
Yes, he's my bearded cousin.
yeah, that name. He says that like he doesn't like the blockchain to be used for anything besides money, besides Bitcoin itself, because it perverts the incentive. And Peter Todd doesn't like to pervert mining incentives, so you shouldn't be using. Yeah, same thing. I
And
think
I,
the
I
argument is not the same, but the conclusion
yes, but I
is the
agree.
same.
I agree with that. So if you're going to the drive chain topic, etc., then I would yes, I agree. Um,
You agree with drive? You agree that drive chain is the best thing ever? I don't understand what you're agreeing with.
I agree with the
Look at these carriers. Look
yes,
at
I
these
hate
carriers.
them.
They're
It's like there are
they're
a zillion
beautiful.
Goliaths there, but you just can't reach because of the stupid map.
I don't like these carriers either.
It's like la 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 la. Now I'm just going away. Um,
Yeah, but if the Goliaths catch them, they all die very fast.
so that
If
is a
they happen
lie.
to fly,
No,
if they
that is a
happen to
lie.
fly over a bunch of
It
Goliaths,
takes fucking ages to kill a carrier. They're so
at this point,
tanky.
Artosis is saying, "Oh, you can't kill these Goliaths with so these carriers with so few Goliaths. You need 40 Goliaths,
Yes, you do. You
something
actually
like
do.
that."
You need like infinite amount of Goliaths, and then you're probably
Yeah, but
still better off
you
killing the
can.
Inceptors. It's so stupid. And you can't catch them because the carriers are so damn fast, right? If the carriers decide to just fly away, and it's like, okay, guess I'm
I
not killing
watched the
carriers
game,
today.
ASL something I don't know an old game like for 2 years ago that the guy made quick carriers and the Terran had just made a bunch of Marines and the Marines killed all the interceptors.
Yes, because Marines are
That was
actually a good counter against carriers. Because the
yeah.
Marines are better than the Interceptor themselves. So if it's just then it's a one-on-one on Interceptor versus Marines, and then the Marines win.
Okay, drive chain. So
No, please
let me say one thing.
yes.
No, I'm not going to talk about drive chain. One use case that I thought like it's the use case that first got me interested in Bitcoin was that no, this is not interesting. Go on with your talk. I wanna know where you're going to reach because you've been talking about safety and something. Oh, you're talking about the memes and people that repeat the dogma.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's I guess there are paradigm shifts in within Bitcoin and how we're going to use it, and sure, it's difficult, right? Because it's there's still a lot of speculation as to where it will go to. I have my ideas, um, but it's the so okay. Well, this nicely flows into another tweet by you, or a couple of tweets. Let me see if I can find it. I think Lightning is going to become more and more centralized as time passes, both in code and number of nodes and ways to access the network. The fewer and fewer nodes will be implementing more and more restrictions and creating more barriers to entry as time passes. We must develop an alternative network that is similar and gets incentives to decentralization better in a way that is able to bridge the. Oh wait, I don't actually care about that second part. So, um, in relation to this the way I of the reason that I bring this up is uh, if you take Lightning for instance, there was very early on there was already this critique, let's say, of the fact that there is this possible centralization, etc. And I I just don't understand as to what the problem is, other than the vector that you introduced, right? That it can be actually captured by the centralization, just because on a protocol level it will shift and alter, basically.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know what I meant, but yeah.
So that one's interesting, and we might discuss it or not. So Terran lost. Protoss won. Congratulations, fiatjaf.
Thank you.
Your
It was
favorite
me
race
playing
won.
actually.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put it on replay just so that there is something going on the screen. Um, but so here's the thing: the Bitcoin base layer, right? That's the censorship resistant, permissionless, etc. stuff going on, and I don't necessarily care what people build on top of that, right? So if there is a trade off somewhere, then fine. That there, but the what I'm personally interested in the domain of stuff building on top of Bitcoin is within the contracts, and Lightning is a very good example of that. So that I like. I like Lightning. Stuff that's outside of contracts, and I guess drive chains are sort of murky as to whether they are inside or outside contracts. But I guess
It's
uh,
just an escrow.
the
It's
Liquid
just
network, yeah, I agree. But the Liquid, like if you like Liquid, for example, it's
it's the
completely
same.
not
It's the
interesting.
same as drivetrain.
Yeah,
It's the
but
same
so
as
it's
drive.
completely not interesting to me necessarily, right? Um,
Why?
it's because like you said, it's just an escrow, and then people can do something within that. I can say, oh, yeah, okay, fine, right? You can put the Bitcoin into a bank. It's the same thing with the exchanges, right? It's like it's
Hmm.
not it. You're not introducing an exchange functionality on Bitcoin by being a Coinbase,
Right.
right? So you're not in. So anything that happens within Liquid, it's like yeah, that's not within Bitcoin. That's just something you do. And there's just
Yeah,
this
but
fact
it's
that
just all these contracts you mentioned. They're just conditions for redeeming the money, and you can have all sorts of conditions.
I agree. So,
On
but
the lightning stuff, the conditions are just a bunch of garbage, very complicated scripts that you can use to redeem your 100 sats that you sent to your
yes, but
friend.
then
That because
okay, but both
that's
parties
why
are
that's
yes, but
entirely
they.
used.
I agree, but the contract restricts the domain for both parties. And for instance, with Liquid, it just doesn't, right? You're still handing it over to somebody else.
Yeah,
And with Lightning, you're not
but
handing
the
it over
drive.
to somebody else. You're going into a shared agreement
Hmm.
that's defined within the contract.
Yeah, but you see, like in these Ethereum smart contracts things, do you like these? Do you think there's any
No,
interesting things in Ethereum happening?
no, 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 not
Because it's a
necessarily
very
because I don't think.
expressive.
Yes, because I don't think that they're. I still need to be convinced that you actually need the Turing complete yada yada etc stuff. Because I still don't see a reason why you'd need that, because I still think that ultimately um, this is fun. Okay, let me wait a minute. Uh, um, entertain our audience for a bit. I'm gonna look for something.
So here you see the zealots. They're shredding the Marines down because they're much better units. I'm just kidding. The Terrans are much better. That's why all the Terrans always win the tournaments, and etc. But you can. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm just be silent and wait until consent happens. Comes back. I don't know. Okay, did you get it? Okay, Now I'm going to talk about drive chain. Drive chain is this amazing technology that you give your money to the miners, and the miners, they're not a static, predefined group of people that can conspire against you. They're they're the a dynamic group, and their interests align with the interests of the rest of the Bitcoin people. So they're not incentivized to steal your money, and these incentives are much better because you can make your the side chains that you create by giving the money to these miners pay the miners themselves. So if the side chains are successful, the miners are going to get much more money from their existence than they could from stealing. And if the side chains are not successful, they will have very little money in them. So it doesn't make sense for the miners to steal the money. But it does make sense for the miners to steal the money if the side chains are harmful or buggy, or if they're doing bad things. In these cases, it's a healthy thing for the miners to steal the money. And also, people can use these side chains um, with very little money, like Hive Mind, which is the best thing you can do in a side chain.
Are you done?
BitcoinHiveMind.com. Enter this site and watch the videos. Thank you.
I was cleaning my room, and I found a very old piece of paper um, where I wrote something down. And looking at it, it's not exactly what I was thinking was on it, but it's sort of relevant. So I'm gonna read it anyway, right? So it's I don't know when I wrote this. I guess somewhere 2016. So a transaction is loading a program. The inputs are closing a program. The outputs are loading the program. You precompile the program. After compilation, you initiate the program by loading it onto the consensus machine. Compilation consists out of a complex deterministic tree of possible actions within the program, which unfold as a chain of reactions. Anywhere within the sequence, the program can be closed as long as it satisfies the conditions. The multiple parties can be involved in the program. Each can have their particular influence in the internal execution of the program. This influence comes from the signing power they have to make a particular branch of the complex deterministic tree valid in order to properly close on-chain. Construction of the program is done collaboratively. So this was my description at the time of what the...
Yeah, this is very beautiful, very, very, very well written, but it's just an abstraction way to see it.
Yes. So, what I thought was on the paper, but it wasn't, unfortunately, was an analogy of Bitcoin and a computer, where
It's also
it was like not just like a Van Neumann machine, right? So you had the registers, and then you had the ALUs, and then
right.
so the UTXOs is what's in the registers, and then you load the UTXOs into the ALU, and then there's processing going on, etc. So I had this very nice analogy, and I at one time was on IRC, and I posited this analogy to Gregory Maxwell, and he said it's not wrong, but the thing it's not necessarily wrong, but the thing you have to keep in mind is that the Bitcoin doesn't actually compute anything; it only validates. And it was that remark that triggered something in my thought, and that relates to your question as to the Ethereum stuff. Is that you don't need to compute anything; you only
Okay,
need
this
to
is
validate, because you can. because ultimately it's action. It's you can say human action, or it could be a machine or whatever. But there are parties that take action in time, a decision, and that can be abstracted to just signing a particular thing, right? And then the abstraction is just like, okay, you set the constraints of the domains of possibilities within the contract. That's the game you're playing. And then people can take actions within that game. And then the system just validates if everything is going according to the rules. And that's all you
Right.
need.
This is the gospel of the taproot uh, brilliant minds. Like they say this every time.
Yes,
They say, "Oh, Bitcoin is just validating, blah 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 blah." Yeah,
correct.
okay, but this is also just an abstraction. I need something more concrete.
Yeah, well, Lightning is an
To
example that already exists of this.
Lightning is the only example. The
Yes,
only
but
example.
okay, so come on. Because it's the most fundamental thing, right? It's the most fundamental. This a payment channel. So okay, so the
A
payment.
Van Neumann machine can do much more than
No, we have Van Neumann machines. It's called a computer. We have them.
yes,
Yes.
and they can
So
do a lot of things.
yes. So I mean, I don't understand what the problem is, because you already built the thing in the or whatever the fuck it was.
What? Ethereum.
Yes. So
Yes,
you
and Ethereum.
so
It
you take
didn't.
Ethereum. What was it? Ethereum?
Yes,
So you
Ethereum.
take
So I
Ethereum.
don't think Ethereum doesn't have any use case that is interesting. After 10 years, they didn't find anything that's interesting except creating tokens and sending them around, shuffling them, and etc.
Correct, because there is no point to the system, right?
So the only thing you can do in the entire computerness of Ethereum is move tokens, which is the same thing you can do in Bitcoin.
Correct.
So these smart contracts, they're not, the idea of smart contracts is not very interesting. But in Ethereum, you could do much more interesting things, because you could access the external world. But the external world is not validatable. You can't run a node to validate data from the external world, like
No, because
HTTP
but for
calls
that you
to other
so
websites.
you have the DLCs, the discrete log contracts, right?
Yeah, they're just asking someone to what is the data from the
Correct.
external world,
Yes.
which the same as liquid, which you just said is not interesting.
No. There's some. So you I mean, the thing is that so there is a trusted third party here in the Oracle, but you can set up. I guess that's the point, right? It's like as the moment you're doing something in the real world, you have oracles, and the if you after some if we develop this thing more and more, then you can have very complex setups for these oracles, right? You can have thresholds.
If you enter that website, bitcoinhavemind.com, you see a very interesting way of doing these oracles. If that's interesting to you, you should check that site. You know who made it? Postors.
The thing is, okay, so let's get back to, so the payment channel is the most like simple.
Look at the dragoons.
Yes, it's so satisfying. The payment channels is like the most basic stuff you can do in multi-party. It's multi-party, right? It's just two people or two entities controlling a UTXO, and it's the most simple stuff you can do in relation to controlling a UTXO. And then out of that, you can build this network, which is Lightning. But my perspective is like, now look at this payment channel feature and subsequent Lightning as a feature within a contract. So now we're going to start a venture, right? You and me, we're going to start a venture. And we need some. We're gonna bring up some capital. Um, so we're gonna put some Bitcoin in a UTXO, and maybe there are some other guys. We need more capital, so there are a few other guys there as well. They are technically shareholders. So the contract defines is like who gets what amount of money, right? At the moment, we're going to spend it right now. And we hire some employees, and those get added to the contract as well. And they basically get these internal payment channels within the contract, right? If you this notion of channel factories. And that's every month they get their salary just via Lightning, right? We're just pushing their salary over this channel. So we have all this capital locked of running our venture, but due to the fact that we also have maybe we go, I don't know what kind of venture we are, right? But we ship something.
Selling popsicles.
We are selling popsicles, exactly. We're selling raketjes. So we have a contract with a logistics company, right? Shipping our popsicles. So we have a Bitcoin contract with that company, and then that shipping company probably also has like contracts with supermarkets. So now all the
Everybody's
capital.
in the same.
Well, they
You
are
put
connected,
everybody
right?
in the UTXO.
No. There are now we have three. We have, let's say, three UTXOs. So we have the UTXO of our company, we have the UTXO of our company and the logistics company, and the logistics company and the supermarket. So now our employee goes to the supermarket to pay for his popsicle, and he can route his wages over the Lightning network in order to buy the popsicle. So
Right.
so all the capital is stuck in these contracts, right? But it's become liquid because there is this Lightning feature, this payment channel feature going on.
Okay.
So do you?
That's very beautiful. I don't disagree with that.
But it's not relevant, right? Who's gonna start a fucking venture in Bitcoin right now? Apart from the
Yeah,
fact that it's
that's also
technically not even possible to do so, you probably need a bunch of opcode still, or more or a better scripting language. But even if it was possible, and you need a shit ton of tooling, you need clients, you need nice
it's
interfaces,
possible
right?
in Ethereum. It's possible in Ethereum, and
I don't
people
necessarily
are not.
think it is. No, it's not.
People have been trying to do it.
No, because
Like
their architecture sucks. Because the problem there. I'm not. So I'd have to think about it if how this relates. But ultimately, their architecture sucks, right? You have these. It's because you have these accounts. That also means that every contract is this autonomous standalone thing that functions on chain. That means that
yes,
the they talk about this composability stuff, but actually there is the interactivity is weird, right? Because there's these standalone things that then subsequently have to interact with each other than us for our specific thing just creating the contract that only applies to us, that can use any type of code
I see.
that
Yeah,
that
I,
is necessary for our interaction at that point. Instead of shopping from, we have to go to this part of town to this contract, and then we have to go to that part of town for that
yeah,
contract.
but I think the initial idea would be that people would launch these contracts for each of their new mundane thing. Like each person would be launching one of these contracts for whatever. But what happened was that there are these things that exist, which are these contracts, and then you use them instead of you creating yours. Yeah, but I see what you mean.
And then at the end of the day, right, your Bitcoin is not our unit of account, so uh, it's hard to do business with this and stuff. So I mean, there
Yeah,
are technical
if you're going
reasons.
to bring in the constraints, real world constraints, you also can't do that because it would be very expensive. If Bitcoin was the unit of account, that would mean a lot of people using Bitcoin and the chain becoming much more expensive than it is.
I don't know, dude. I mean, uh,
And you know how often these Lightning channels close? They close a lot,
it's
and
not.
they close because the software
Nah.
can't agree with the other software because the computer is offline. Yeah, and then now it's the point where you say, oh, here in the rich side of the world we can have better computers, but it's not happening. Like the channels are closing. If you look at the statistics, the Lightning channels they're closing very much all the time.
Um,
I don't know if this is solvable. It should be solvable, but it's not being solved. I think.
I
I
don't
think
see
that
any
the
fundamental problem with that necessarily. I mean, it's just how trigger happy is the client, right, in closing the contract.
yeah, I agree. No, I think the problem is just the complexity. There are too many factors to take
Yes,
into account to make a very good software that doesn't close channels all the time.
yes, it is very complex, and that's also the reason why I'm very patient with all of this stuff because the amount of complexity is absurd, right? But I'm not. So the reason I'm optimistic is because this goes back to what I mentioned in an earlier podcast is about this. At least from a contract level, this stuff can be um, mathematically pure, right? If you want it to be, it can be precisely defined and verified to be what it actually states to be. So there no ambiguity within the constraints of the contract, etc. But it's just a mode of computing or computer science that necessarily did not exist before. It has existed, but it's just so marginal. And now all of a sudden it needs to be mainstream because it needs to do something that the entire world should use, and but it's still mission critical because it's about money. So yeah, that's hard and it's new.
You mean these verifiable things like you write something in logic
Yes,
and, and you check that it's doing what it's yeah, I see.
it's also in like
I don't like any of this. I think it's cool, but like when you say it, it's cool. When I've seen similar people talking these things, but in practice, all I want is a way for people to have the money and send the money around, use the money to buy popsicles, and then you just send it, hopefully via Lightning. If Lightning doesn't keeps working, like Lightning keeps working, or something somewhere like written something else, and that's it. And then you don't have to pay taxes. The government doesn't track you. There's no inflation, and it works.
uh,
The
uh,
first thing that I saw Bitcoin the first time in 2011, and I liked it from a like I was thinking, oh, it was some money. I was interested because it was money, and the concept of money was these things that I had some a concept of money, and Bitcoin wasn't fitting into it, and so. But then I lost interest, and some years later I became interested again because I made an app. You could call that an app uh, that was targeted to mostly U.S. people, and there were U.S. people using it, and I wanted to charge money, and there were people willing to pay, and I wanted money, but I couldn't charge money because I was in Brazil, and I didn't want to. I couldn't like make a company in the U.S. to receive
uh-huh.
like a very small amount of money from these people. So I tried to use Bitcoin for that, but the people the people that were using the thing, they didn't know what Bitcoin was. I didn't care. So
This brings us to a very important topic,
what is it?
What's the deal with LNTX bot?
Oh shit. Well, I don't know what's the deal. It just started to became to become very very buggy in multiple aspects. All of nothing, like all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, and it was I just decided to stop it for a while and fix the problem later because I didn't have time. But then people said, "Oh, let me take my money out." Like, why you're maintaining it closed? So it just made a function for people to just take the money out and not use the bot for anything else. And then a rumor spreaded that I was closing the bot forever, and then thousands of people started trying to withdraw, so they crashed my server. So I put a rate limit thing, and now apparently the bot is dead forever because of the rumor that killed it. I wasn't intending to kill it forever. Yeah.
Okay, but what I find interesting is that you could have been more proactive, I guess. Now, maybe not. I mean, the rumor was out there. But
Yeah,
okay,
but then
so,
I embraced it. I embraced the rumor,
okay.
and I said, okay, it's better if everybody takes the money out. I don't want to keep holding all this money. But the bot's so buggy that people can't take the money out anyway. Like the payments are failing a lot, and they were not failing like a month ago, and now they're failing
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. So people just can't take the money, and I don't know what I'm going to do.
So a couple of questions. So how much is within LNTX bot right now?
Um, the total balances are over 1 Bitcoin. Yeah,
And how is that money managed?
the money. What money? I'm talking about balances.
what computer did you buy? What vacation did you book for yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think the money is there somewhere. As people withdraw, I'm going to put more money in the bot for them to withdraw, and I'll take that money from some other places that I think have money. I'm not very good at storing my coins, uh, other people coins, and if there's not enough money, then I don't know, maybe I'll have to do something.
Nah, it's fine. I mean, Jack Dorsey gave you more than enough to cover the LNTX bot balance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I can take that.
are you still in contact with him?
No, I didn't talk to him anymore. Like, he just give the money in. That's it.
Hmm. And how's the distribution going? So, because the last time we spoke about this, I made a suggestion, and you immediately jumped on that suggestion and executed on it. So,
Yeah, you said that wasn't very wise from me to follow your suggestion. But I think the suggestion paid well. Like it made it was good for my mental health. And the rest of the money that I kept, I well for now I'm just gave I paid like 6 micro grants bounties to people that have contributed stuff. I open a bounty for people for someone to do a thing, and there's a guy that is doing it. I don't know. I I don't. I think these people that live in these countries like you, they have a different idea of what's a lot of money, what's a lot of yeah that because their things are more expensive. So maybe I'm paying a little. I'm paying less than I should.
um,
That's the problem.
I'm
And also, I don't know. Like the other idea is like I get someone to do something, and then I pay them. They become my employees, and I don't want that because employees suck, right? Do you
yeah.
have
So it's
employees?
it's about it's about expectation here. So I mean, is the bounty there to be legitimate development work salary, or is it just
No, I don't know. Actually, the bounty should be. I don't think it should be salary because I want people that want to do the thing, and not just some random guy that will not care at all
right?
and just do it for the money. So it can't be. It must be less than a salary would be, right, for this to work.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's well, it's something we discussed then as well. It's like to some extent the money just complicates things. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, okay,
But
so
people were not going to leave their jobs to do this. So
right.
whatever doesn't make any difference maybe if they were already going to do something. But I guess they could be using their spare time to build some Bitcoin things, and now they can do nicer things because there's some money that they can earn from that in their spare time. So that this is good, like to harm Bitcoin development.
Nah, it's an attack on Bitcoin. Nostr is an attack on Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, i- you showed everybody how to make money within Bitcoin, and you do it the
I
old
did.
school way. Yeah, you just rug pull people. You get them to send money to you, promise to give it back to them at some point, and then just don't. Right? That's how you make money in Bitcoin. That's how everybody's been making money in Bitcoin since the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks
Okay.
everybody for listening to Rug Pull Hashed podcast,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can pick up the schedule again. We've been off for I think 3 weeks or something, uh, but it happens. Nobody has any expectations for this show anyway, so that's good. What I think the best part about this, all of this, is that we're recording this show and you put like zero effort into promoting the show.
Me?
Yeah,
I did. I
you did?
Oh,
Where?
I did posted it on Twitter once. What effort did you put on this?
Oh no,
Well, that guy. What's the name of how do you say that name? The guy who made the podcast for us. He put much more effort.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Although apparently it doesn't load the MP3, so the RSS feed is there, but there's no MP3 there or something.
Really?
Yeah, really. Because somebody
Well, you
else,
should
I,
try this
I,
guy.
I
He's
sent
very
somebody
good.
else the link, and he was like, "Yeah, but there is no actual MP3 there." So I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Okay, we have to fix that. The listeners are waiting.
I guess so. That's probably the reason why we don't have any listeners because
I think we do have listeners, right? The YouTube videos have views on them.
correct. That's me F5ing every day just to make you feel better.
Well, the one that I posted on Twitter has much more views than the other ones.
Okay.
I like this one. I like
Yeah,
this
me
one. I
too.
will promote
Hopefully,
this
hopefully we're
because
improving, and then at some point it's actually worth
the
listening to.
game is better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I agree. That's it. That's it. There is a better StarCraft game. Just improves everything.
So if you're watching this and you wanna play StarCraft and you know nothing about StarCraft, I may be a good match for you. So message me. We can play, or we can both play against Constant.
Maybe we can host a StarCraft tournament at some point with Bitcoiners.
Yes.
It sounds like work though, so I'm it's probably not gonna happen if it depends on me. So
Yeah, that doesn't make many sense because there will be Bitcoiners that are very good and Bitcoiners that are very bad, and the tournament will not be very good.
That's the
The
problem
matches
with
will be
StarCraft, dude.
very one-sided.
It's like nobody plays the game.
No, nobody plays.
Nobody plays the game. If you're at a LAN party or something, that used to be the issue. Like I was at a LAN party and nobody plays StarCraft, so we all played Counter Strike. Stupid
Well, I think
freaking Counter
these
Strike.
lamp things they already had the thing set up, right? At least the one I did, I went to.
Oh, I just meet with friends, right?
Oh,
Many,
no, no,
many,
no.
many years ago, with friends from school, we would do LAN parties, and then
Okay.
we ended up playing a lot
Oh,
of Counter
here in
Strike.
Brazil we had these land houses. Did you have these? Yeah, I think you did. And people didn't have internet, so they went to these places to
Ah,
play
internet
games.
cafes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I see.
And when I say LAN party, I thought about a different thing, which is these these places they hosted events that you went there and you stayed there many hours during the night playing the thing, playing something. You be there the entire night.
Uh huh. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
you you you've had dream you had like big LAN parties with
I went
I
to
guess
one of
I guess
these.
thousands
And
of people and then like an entire weekend or something.
hmm.
Like a large event. But the one I was referring to is just with a couple of friends from school, and then over the
Well, the one
weekend.
I went was like 20 people.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like eight friends, and then everybody brings along their computer, and then a lot of energy drinks and stuff. No parents home.
Yeah,
A lot of fried
you
food.
were young.
Yeah, it's good. How old are you actually? How old is fiatjaf?
Yeah, I'm probably the same old as you.
I don't know. How old are you?
I'm not going to answer that.
Can,
Assume it's the same old as you. I
I,
also played StarCraft when it launched.
can you give me a range?
I played StarCraft. I was an adolescent, teenager.
Ah, okay, okay. Then I guess you're a bit older.
Okay,
You're a grandpa. So okay. Good night, grandpa. Uh,
cut that part, please. Don't reveal my age.
I'm not. I'm, I'm not gonna edit this. Dude, that's effort. I'm just gonna render it. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna
Okay,
edit anything. So we
okay.
know that fiatjaf is 75 years old. And
Yeah, that's fine.
all right.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.